Welcome everybody to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is episode 88 and I am your host, Steampunk Star Raisin. I am here in North Hollywood, California, USA, and I'm here with my co-host, Daniel Bertizan. He is in Bellwood, Ontario, Canada. How's it going, Daniel?
I'm doing okay. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. So I guess we could do Picard episode 4 review. You seen
Yeah.
Picard? What did you want
Did
to
you?
talk about today?
Oh my God, it was really good. The episode of Picard was so. I mean, I think this was the best episode so far. I know that the Fandom Menace on YouTube most of them like it. Like Nerdrotic likes it, and Dave Cullen likes it. I don't know if you know these YouTubers, but they're YouTubers, and
I don't know them.
yeah, they're kind of dicks, but yeah, they like apparently they like it. More and more people like Picard season three. Although I don't know about okay. I've been listening to these YouTubers who are always talking about continuity contradictions between Picard
Well,
season three.
I saw a review of episode 4. I actually liked episode 4, and I thought
Yeah.
Riker had redeemed himself. Um, I wonder if the Shrek is no longer going to be the big bad because, oh, spoiler alert if you haven't seen episode 4, season 3 of Picard, because I really liked how Riker was able to use the tractor beam to pick up a small asteroid and totally wreck the ship. So that was pretty
Strike.
cool. Or strike, or
Yeah.
yeah, the strike or whatever. The big black looks like a elephant beetle ship, but I thought
Mhm.
that was pretty cool action scene, and you know, how creative, out of the box thinking, and then Riker realized that he should trust Picard, and then I loved how Beverly Crusher was able to figure out that there was a pattern to the energy wave, and then they were able to utilize the energy wave to get out of the collapsing nebula with the gravitational force, and then it tied into encounter at Farpoint part 1 and 2, which I thought was pretty cool because you got to see those creatures that you saw at Encounter at Farpoint. So it more closely connects. Season 3 so far, we're almost halfway through. It more closely connects with Next Generation than the first 2 seasons of Picard. So yeah,
Yeah. Do you remember at the beginning they're really referencing the best of both worlds? Like in the beginning, you see Beverly reviewing a log from the best of both worlds on her ship,
yeah,
and you can hear the log in the background.
yeah,
And I think it's the exact same log from Best of Both Worlds. And they're making
yeah.
a lot.
It's a
Yeah.
little Easter egg.
And also they mentioned it quite a few times. We find out that Captain Jackass, the
Well,
guy,
was it Captain Shaw?
yeah, Captain Shaw. Yeah,
Captain
he
Shaw
was
has a grievance against Picard because Picard was Locutus at the Battle of Wolf 359, and he lost a lot of he was I guess at that time Captain Shaw was like maybe an ensign or a lieutenant. He was a lower ranking officer, and he lost most of his comrades in battle fighting against Locutus. But and it's
yeah,
understandable from his perspective why he would be bitter about that. The interesting
they
thing
only
is,
had one life pod. They only had one life pod, and they picked Captain Shaw or Shaw back then. He was a grease monkey. He was an engineer on the
engineer.
ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. They did a little bit better character development. And at first, I didn't like Captain Shaw, but then I kind of understood where he was coming from, and it made him a more compelling, complex character. So I like that. I wonder if this just mean that that what's the name of that ship again? The Shrek or
Uh, the Shrike.
the Shrike? Um, with the Shrike being catastrophically damaged or appeared to be catastrophically damaged, does that mean that that threat is eliminated and now like there's going to be a different threat halfway through the season, or is it going to be the same threat? I don't
Well,
know.
it wasn't destroyed. I thought
Yeah,
to myself,
but she said that the ship had catastrophic damage and that they were going to probably lose control of the ship or lose power on the ship or something like that. So maybe she can repair it. But yeah, it was interesting, and she seemed to be a changeling as well.
yeah, when she cut off her arm, I was like, oh, she's a changeling too, like. But why was she experiencing pain when she cut off her hand? Changelings don't experience pain.
I'm not sure.
I mean, they're talking about it. Like these changelings are different. They're not the okay. Remember in DS9 when they turned into goo? They were shimmering
Well, it
gelatin.
seems that maybe she is more than one being in one composite body. She might have a link with several changelings, so cutting off might be painful because she's literally talking to another. Because changelings, in their native home world, they live in like a sea of goo where they're all
Yeah.
interconnected.
She was taught.
So
She cut off her
I
hand,
don't know. We'll find out as the season goes through.
and she was talking to Satan.
Satan.
Yeah, she was talking to Satan.
What do you mean, Satan?
When she was talking to that thing that the skull that rose up, and I was
Oh,
like,
that's
"It's Satan! Satan's in Star
you're
Trek!"
being silly. You're being silly. It didn't look like Satan to me. It's just like an alien. But yeah, so pretty interesting. We're almost halfway through. I'll be sad to say goodbye when they do. I hope they do a spinoff show with Worf. I think that would be cool. I'd rather see a Worf show than a Section 31 show any day.
Yeah. Well, I think you know what? I think they're gonna pick up Worf in the next episode because they're out of the nebula, right? So yeah, that makes sense, most likely.
Yeah, we shall see.
Well, I'm excited. You know why? Because I'll get to see episode 6 and I'll be all alone. My parents are going to Florida, so I'll see episode 6 alone. So episode 5, I'll see it. They're still here. But
Well,
episode
that
6,
sounds
I'll be alone.
exciting for you. You'll have a break from them, and they'll have a break from you.
Doesn't Captain Shaw look like Kelsey Grammer a little bit? It looked like he looks like a little bit like Kelsey Grammer. Kelsey
Kelsey
Grammer.
Grammer. I don't know who's
Remember
the.
in that Next Generation episode when Kelsey Grant the Captain Morgan Bateson appeared?
You're gonna have to tell me that more about the episode.
Uh, it's
There's
like
a million Star Trek episodes.
it's like an episode where the time was looping over and over and over, and then they had to get out of a way of a ship because the ship kept on crashing into them. It came out of a nebula, and it kept on crashing into them. The Enterprise D.
Oh, yeah, I vaguely remember that episode. That was an interesting episode.
Yeah, at first I thought to myself, it's Captain Morgan Bateson, but then I'm looking at him like, no, it's not.
I don't think they look the same. I think I know who you're talking about, the guy at the end with the beard, and he was yeah, I don't see the resemblance. Just because they both have a beard doesn't mean they look alike.
Well,
But
yeah, but it's like first
because
time you look.
he had kind of like red hair, and this
Yeah.
guy has like salt and pepper hair. He's got like dark hair with gray spots in it. So
Mm.
I don't think they look alike in my opinion. But whatever. You being
But like,
silly, being silly again.
do you see like a lot of people are saying there's contradictions between season 2 and season 3 and season 1, and there's contradictions between TNG and Picard as a whole. I don't see no contradictions.
Um,
Okay, I'm going to send you a few videos to see if you agree with this. I don't know, but
Contradictions with what? What are you talking about?
okay, Picard season 3 contradicts Picard season 2 and Picard season 1, and it also contradicts
Well,
TNG.
I hope they pretend that seasons 1 and 2 didn't happen because seasons 1 and 2 were just so god awful and terrible. I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Season 2 was the whole traveling back in time to the early 21st century that was just done as a budget restraint to cut down on special effects.
Oh, you don't like it? Okay.
No, I didn't like season two. There was no explanation of why they killed off Q. Oh, I'm just dying. He doesn't explain why. Made no sense. And you would think for such a prominent character from Next Generation, for them to bring him back on, on a streaming series, we would like to have a little bit more closure. Like, why is Q dying? They don't explain it. It was just, the fact that he let Captain Picard let Captain Rios stay in the early 21st century was kind of stupid. And the fact that Captain Rios, well, I would rather live in the 25th century, be perfectly honest, instead of the 21st century, because the way we treat people in this century, with the way that the rampant greed and the politics of selfishness it's pretty rough. I'd rather live in the future where I had access to a replicator, I had
Yeah.
access to better medical technology where things didn't have to be so rough.
Where you can live for free, you don't need a job to live.
Yeah, you don't need a job to live, but if you want to get ahead, then maybe you would need a job. But
Yeah.
but you would have your bases covered. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, definitely. So it's I love it. I grew up
And
with
then season one, I didn't like. It was too dark and gory for a Star Trek, and they kind of hinted that they were going to do something with the Borg, and they didn't really. The Borg went into a really dumb direction with the murder doctor. Kind of, I'm glad that they wrote all that off. Uh, there were
yeah,
like
now she's
maybe
like the
there
new
were a
plot
couple
point.
episodes of the beginning of season one of Picard that I liked, but then the way the season ended, it was terrible with Data committing suicide. That was just depressing, and it seemed unlike Data to me, even though it was a backup version of Data. I don't know. It's just like
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I think it was terrible. Didn't
Yeah.
feel it. Didn't feel like Next Generation to me, but this feels like Next Generation. So I mean,
Yeah, Terry
I know
McCallum's good.
Trek culture criticized um episode four of Picard because he said that um there was a continuity error with one of the changelings. Like when they found the dead officer, they changed his name to John on one of the pads, on one of the tablets on the ship where they had the name of the Federation officer was misspelled. Yeah, that was a minor error, but I didn't even notice it, the first and second time that I watched it. And then he also talked about how the bucket that the changeling, that Seven found, where the bucket, and she finds out, oh, this is the bucket that the changeling sleeps in, is a Bajoran bucket. So why would changelings have a Bajoran bucket? I couldn't, to me, it looked a little different than the bucket from Deep Space Nine. I could see why not use a Bajoran bucket or use a different type of or a bucket that was similar. I didn't have a problem with that. I know Trek Culture also criticized the episode for there was a scene where Seven is looking for the changeling, and you see this little light, this little panel, and there's nothing dark about the panel. And then later on, you see the bucket is hidden in the panel in the wall, and he said that created a continuity error. And I was like, well, maybe it moved, or maybe I don't know. I never noticed it. I didn't really have that big of an issue. Maybe that the slight continuity error with the character's name on the little tablet computer that he had or she had, that you can maybe gripe about that slightly, but I just think that's nitpicking too much. I mean, this is the same, Trek culture. They were like, oh, we really love Discovery, but yeah, he's willing to nitpick season three of Picard. Although overall he still gave it good reviews, but I thought he was a little bit nitpicky, a little too nitpicky.
Yeah. Oh, also, you know what? You know how Captain Shaw was walking around when he was walking around with a cast on him, right?
Yeah,
People were nitpicking. Like in the future, they have dermal regenerators, so he wouldn't need to have a cast and to have crutches. They could have just regenerated him. Why is he walking around with
with a cast and a
crutch?
cane. Yeah, he has a cane and a cast. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe his tissue got severely damaged, and he needed a few hours to recover so that he would regain use of it.
Mhm.
I mean, it was okay. I mean, yeah, I kind of can see that from a certain point of view. But overall, I thought the overall story was pretty good. So I'm excited to see more, to see what happens in episode 5.
Also, they're still talking about Picard's bald head. They're like, well, they have technology that can make your hair grow. They can fix baldness. Why is
Well,
Picard bald?
Gene Roddenberry said, well, they wouldn't care, in the, that's superficial, you know. So yeah, I'm sure Picard could have gotten his hair regenerated with Federation medical technology in the 25th century or even the 24th century,
But he
but
chose not
he
to.
chose not to.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. Hello, what's up? We're recording a live show, so you're on the air. Say,
Yeah, I figured I could call, but that's okay.
I'm here with Roxanne. Roxanne is joining us for this podcast.
Oh, how many minutes left are in it?
We're probably about 1/3 of the way through. We got about 20 more minutes.
Okay.
So what's up? What's up?
Oh, yeah. I gotta do some gluing outside. I don't really want to elaborate on that, but it's a project having to glue together a toy,
Oh,
like a dragon
okay.
toy. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I thought you had got another toy. That's what I don't understand.
We find what?
You bought a new toy. I thought you bought a new toy.
Well, yeah. I know the purpose for that was to basically hold me off while the glue is drying on my other toy.
Okay. Goodness grief. But yeah, you got that toy dragon off of Amazon, right?
For a dragon.
And you got your toy dragon from Dragon Con that I got for you. I just now got around it. But yeah, we were doing a review of Picard season 3, episode 4.
It's going to talk about that. I love it. Yeah, I haven't watched the newest episode yet, but I was just going to talk about that. I figured y'all were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we already in the previous podcast, we'd already did a review of episode 3, and then the one before that, we did a review of episodes 1 and 2. Yeah, I finally feel like Next Generation's back because you got Worf, you got Deanna Troi, you got Riker, you got Picard, you got Beverly Crusher. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to realize that Picard actually does have a son that he didn't even know about.
You know what they said? They said that the son was going to be from the lady from the Baku planet.
Who's they? Who said that, Daniel?
I heard it on the internet, like, in season 3, Picard's going to have a son, and that son is from that lady from the Baku
Well, not
planet.
all rumors are true. I guess we'll find out as the season goes forward. But
Because
yeah,
the Baku, like the Baku,
Baku. Who's the Baku?
from Insurrection.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was any Baku in season 3 of Picard.
No, there isn't, but that was a theory.
Oh, well, I mean, it makes sense because Picard had, oh, I remember that really attractive woman that Picard had a fling with in Star Trek Insurrection. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that in a long time. Yeah, Daniel, Well, I mean, I think it makes more sense because he also had a fling with Beverly Crusher that he would have a son with Beverly Crusher that he didn't know about for
Yeah, but how
whatever
did she have a baby when she was like 50 years old?
Federation technology. You know,
I mean,
there've been women who were like in their 60s that have had children. You
isn't
can
that
only
a little
think,
dangerous?
yeah, Daniel, just think about this for a second. If today, with today's technology, women in their 60s can have a baby with artificial insemination, imagine what they could do in the 25th and 24th century. So
Yeah, I guess.
it's incredibly possible.
Because she's like what, 300 years old right now, and I'm like, holy crap.
300
But she,
years old? Ah, you being weird.
but she still looks hot. Remember when she first appeared the first time, Beverly, she got up from bed? I was like, holy shit,
So
she's hot.
you would still tap that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've actually met Gates McFadden in person. I've met her at Dragon Con. That's the name of the actress who plays Beverly Crusher. But I've met all the Next Generation cast. I've met Michael Dorn. I've met Patrick Stewart. I've met Maria Sirtis. I've met LeVar Burton.
Have you
Uh,
met John Delancey?
I've met John Delancey. I've met most of the Next Generation cast. I've met what's his name? It plays Wesley Crusher. What's the dude's name?
Uh, darn it, I forgot his name.
Uh,
Will Wheaton.
yeah, I've met Will Wheaton briefly.
Have you said? Did you ever say, "Shut up, Wesley"?
No, I didn't want to be rude. I'm sure he gets that trope a lot.
Yeah,
Actually,
because
no, actually, I never met Will Wheaton. I saw him. He was around I think it was Long Beach Con. He was hanging out with Felicia Day and they were just exploring the convention. And most people didn't even notice. And I figured since they were exploring the convention not as celebrity guests, but just as regular attendees, I wouldn't bother them. I felt awkward trying to bother them to, say, hey, ooh. But yeah, pretty cool so far. We're almost halfway through season 3 of Picard, and I've been pretty impressed.
I am so getting it when it comes on DVD.
Is it going to come out on DVD?
Yeah, I think it all. Yeah, see, season 2 came on DVD. Season 3 will come on DVD.
Maybe, maybe. You know what I recently got on DVD when I went to Best
Oh
Buy?
yeah,
Hold on. Actually, I got it on Blu Ray.
yeah. But you know what? The next time you go to a
Even
convention,
better, even better than DVD. I haven't had a chance to look at the extras, but I got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
oh yeah, yeah, I got that.
I don't I
That's
don't I don't care what Beyond the trailer thinks. I know she hates the movie because she feels it destroys the character of Wanda, but I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a good MCU movie. It was definitely better than Quantumania. Now, Quantumania I still liked, but it had its flaws. Like MODOK kind of took it down a peg a little bit. If they hadn't had the character of MODOK, it would have been a lot better. And then I got so I've only paid. This was on clearance for like $15, and this is the Blu Ray plus the digital copy. It's pretty cool.
oh yeah.
And then I also got um the first Avatar on Blu Ray was on clearance for only $8. Blu Rays are normally more expensive than DVDs, so the fact that I could get the first Avatar movie on Blu Ray
Yeah.
for only $8 is pretty good. I have the first Avatar movie on DVD, but now I have it also on Blu Ray
Yeah, that is awesome.
for only $8 at Best Buy.
Wait,
That's
you
not
got
bad.
wait, if you when you go to Best Buy or Walmart, do you still see DVD players?
Yeah, they still sell them.
Yeah. I mean, do you use your computer or do you have a DVD
Most
player?
computers don't come with a DVD drive anymore.
Eh?
Uh, a couple do. Like there's a couple models of laptop that still come with a DVD drive, and there are a couple models of desktop computers that still come with a DVD drive. Like some of the Dell desktop tower computers will come with like a slimline DVD drive. But it's becoming less common to see a DVD drive, especially a lot of your like they had HP has a gaming PC called an Omen gaming PC. They also have a Victus gaming PC, but the Victus gaming PC is proprietary. Um, it has proprietary motherboard case and power supply, and it's less upgradable. But the Omen actually uses all standard parts. I actually like the HP Omen gaming PC. But yeah, one of the high-end gaming PCs like the HP Omen or the HP Victus do not come with a DVD drive.
Oh, okay.
You have to get an external like USB if you want to be able to read your old legacy discs. But yeah, I like still having I actually on my gaming PC I have a Blu Ray drive because I like to be able to watch movies on the gaming PC, and I also have a Blu Ray drive on my Mac that I use to edit video. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, let's see. There is software that you can get for free. I forgot what it was called. Leawu. Uh, you can download like Leawu Blu-ray player. And it's pretty good software for playing DVDs and for playing Blu-ray disc. Because the problem with like Windows 10 and Windows 11 is it doesn't come with the codecs that you need to actually play DVDs or Blu-rays because Microsoft doesn't want to play a royalty fee. On Mac OS computers running Mac OS with Apple, they own the license and the codec for DVDs. So by default, they can play DVDs, but by default, they can't play Blu-ray. But yeah, so but yeah, so I would recommend that if you're gonna get an optical drive with your new gaming computer, or just get it external. Just get an external drive, hook it up to USB.
yeah. Dude, how can you not like season two? I'm looking at a picture of Corey. You know Corey from season two?
Don't care. I hate season 2 of Picard. It made no sense. It was low budget. It was low brow. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the Borg Queen in season 2, they didn't hardly ever utilize her. And then when
No.
she does try to assimilate Earth, she does it in such a backhanded way. It makes no sense that she assimilated SEAL Team 6 and you can only tell that they were Borg by the fact that they had green lights on their assault rifles, green laser lights, which was really stupid. Like, it had been established that the Borg, once you get assimilated, you become a cyborg pretty quick. They're able to assimilate metals and existing resources and existing technology and upgrade it. And it made
Yeah.
no sense that it would just be a bunch of mercenaries, and the mercenaries attacked in such a stupid, unrealistic way. They didn't attack like Borg. They didn't even act like elite infantry. We're down to the 10-minute mark. So
Okay, yeah, you want to talk about the war in Ukraine?
yeah, let's do an update of the war in Ukraine. So in my opinion, seasons 1 and 2 of Picard sucked. Season 3 so far is great. You can disagree with me. That's okay.
No, 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 it's okay. No, I loved it. I loved it, you know?
Hold on. I got too many windows open. Let me open. Okay. Let me go to Al Jazeera. I like to go to Al Jazeera because
There's a lot of crap
it's
going on. Man.
well, there's just a lot of propaganda on both sides, and I like to have a more neutral. Al Jazeera is based in Qatar, which is a Middle Eastern oil country, but they have a very good English-speaking TV channel and website.
Mhm.
I like their Ukraine war map. It gives me a good basis to start from. So let me share screen. Okay, whoever is talking in the background, you need to let them know that we're live and we're recording. Anyway, everything okay, Daniel?
Oh yeah, fine.
Okay. Because if they, if your parents or whoever are in the background talking to you, they're going to be live. They're going to be recorded. Anyways, okay, so we have the battle map. This is day 382, March the 12th, 9 o'clock, Greenwich Mean Time. And it really hasn't changed. This war has turned into a stalemate that's lasted for the last 6 months. I mean, a couple months ago, the Russian forces pulled out of Kirsten. They've set up a defense line. Do you see my mouse cursor? Hey, Daniel. Anyway, do you see my mouse cursor? Probably not.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Nice.
yeah. Okay, so the Russian forces still have a defense line on the Dnieper River right here. They've got this defense line going up here. They're launching a counterattack near Soledar, which the Russians have claimed to have taken Soledar, but the Ukrainians claim that they still control part of it. And then, how do you pronounce that city? Bakhmut? Is that how you pronounce it, Anne?
Back maybe.
Yeah, Bakhmut.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Russians have surrounded Bakhmut 3/4 of the way, but the Ukrainians continue to turn it into a fortress city. Even though the Russians have it about 75% surrounded. Now, it kind of reminds me from history. Let me put it to you this way. Are you familiar with the Battle of Kursk?
I heard of it.
Okay, during the Battle of Kursk, you had, the German army versus the Russian army, the Germans led by the Nazi Party and the Russians led by Stalin and the Communist Party. They were fighting, this was in like July of 1943. And the Germans initially did a counterattack near Kharkiv, Ukraine, and they retook Kharkiv and pushed the Russians back. And despite having heavy losses, they were able to launch another counterattack towards Kursk. And the Russians decided to set up anti-tank trenches and anti-tank mines, and they fortified the crap out of Kursk. And Kursk got surrounded by 3/4 by the German army. And the German army tried to do pincer movements to cut off the Russian garrison at Kursk, and they got their ass handed to them. The Germans ended up losing hundreds of tanks, ended up losing tens of thousands of elite infantry, and they also lost a lot of their experienced Air Force personnel because a lot of the Luftwaffe that was brought in to provide air support got shot down, and they lost a lot of elite veteran pilots. The Russians also suffered heavy casualties. They lost hundreds of tanks, but the Russians had better manufacturing processes than the Germans and were able to replace their losses where the Germans were slow to replace their losses. And the German army could ill afford the experienced troops that they lost, and the whole offensive was ended up being called off by Hitler because Hitler was paranoid about the British and the Americans landing in Sicily. So he ended up calling back like 2 divisions, which made little difference in Sicily because it would take those 2 divisions months to get back to Europe from the Eastern Front. But it made a big difference when it came to the failed offensive in the Kursk salient. And so this kind of reminds me of the reverse, because you got the Russians that have Bakhmut. They've got it surrounded by 75%, but there's still a narrow corridor where the Ukrainians are sending reinforcements, replenishing ammunition and supplies, and they've turned it into a fortress city, and it's become a thorn in the Russian side, and the Russians have suffered as many as 80,000 casualties. So have the Ukrainians, but so it's become a battle of attrition, and I wonder if this will be like the Russians' army battle of Kursk, where they initially do somewhat well, but they're not able to complete the pincer movement, and then they get bled down through heavy casualties, and then eventually are forced to retreat. This battle kind of reminds me of like a reverse battle of Kursk. So, there's some striking similarities. Look up the Battle of Kursk. It's very fascinating because that was a very similar battle to Bakhmut, where you had two opposing armies fighting each other. One setting up a defensive fortress of the city of Kursk. The city of Kursk was 75% surrounded by the German army, and the German army tried to launch a pincer movement to track all the Russian troops in Kursk and to cut it off from supply lines. They failed to break through, just like the Russians are failing to break through on Bakhmut. So it kind of reminds me of reverse. I like to call the Battle of Bakhmut the reverse Battle of Kursk, where this time the Russians are on the offensive, but they have suffered heavy losses, and maybe they won't be able to finish through the breaking through the lines. They won't be able to complete their pincer movement because of tenacious defense set up by the Ukrainians. But that's just an observation. It reminds me, like I said, there's some similarities to World War II Battle of Kursk. We're down to 2 minutes, so I need to wrap it up quickly. 10 seconds. Do you have any final words about the war in Ukraine? 10 seconds, quickly.
Well, okay. Actually, okay.
Quickly. I mean, because we only got 2 minutes. We got
will
2
take
minutes.
A little bit too long. It's okay.
All right. So no more words. Any final words about the Ukraine war, Ann?
I say I'm good.
You're good. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is
Sunday, March 12th, 2023.
It is.
Oh, I can't stand Grace.
Oh, hold on just a second. Yeah, this is episode 88 of The World is a Mess. I just want to steampunk it. This has been your host, Steampunk Star Raisin of AmberStreet.com, and I'm here with my co-host, Daniel Bergerson of Bellwood, Ontario, Canada, and Roxanne.
In Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, California, Roxanne. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. You have a nice day, and I will see you 25 billion years. I will.